Hello dear students, hope you're fine. In this lecture we will try to solve the exercises of chapter 3 related to supply and demand. I've asked you to do 2 or 3 exercises. We have already done one of these exercises, here this one, and I've already sent you the solution. So I've asked you later on to do this exercise 10. Based on these questions, please provide your answers on Google Classroom. Also, we have started exercise 3 just to know how we can start when we deal with equations instead of tables where we have supply and demand like here. So if we have only an equation that represents the relationship between prices and the quantities as for the demand and supply, so we will be correcting the remaining questions. And finally, another exercise, which is exercise 4. I've also asked you to do this exercise. Normally, I will be doing this, solving this exercise today, and then later on in our next session, we will be starting a new chapter, which is chapter 4, where we discuss the consumer and producer surplus. So let's go back here to this part and try to solve together this exercise. In this exercise, we have the following. We have the price and quantity demanded and quantity supplied. Is a typical microeconomic exercise where we have for each price level the quantity demanded and the quantity supplied, and usually you are asked to draw supply and demand curves based on these figures and numbers. So what you have to do is first of all to set your two axes, y-axis and x-axis, and you have to know what to choose for each of the two axes. So first of all, let us start by drawing. I will make a bit of more space here using this. So we start by drawing the graph, for example here the two axes, and these two axes here, I will try to change the color. Okay, so I have a little problem. I will try again. Let us draw the two axes, x and y, and normally it's important to mention the name of each of these two axes. So remember well that this axis is the price axis here. So here we will be writing price. Okay, this is our price axis, and here we have our quantity axis. So honey, we will have our quantity demanded and quantity supplied. So Heidi is the first thing to do. Always put the price in the y-axis and x and the quantity in the x-axis. And then you can see here what is the range of prices. It's going from $1 to $8 is the range of different prices. So I will be taking 8 as the maximum here, and then dividing my prices. So here, as again, we have the 8 here, so we should have the 4 right here, 6 here, and normally 2 here. So I have the prices تقريبا here, and then I have to what the range for quantities. Quantities demanded move from 2 till 9 تقريبا, and 3 to 10 بالquantity supplied. So the maximum is 10. So what I'm going to do is to put 10 here as a maximum, and again try to find out in the middle 5, etc. So you can do it whatever. يعني المهم تكونوا you're able to find the accurate values here using a rule. For example, يمكن ترسموا وحدة أحلى من اللي أنا عم برسمها هلا. So that's it. And then of course also you can do it on Excel. هلا we will see together how we would solve this problem on Excel ويطلع لنا a good graph لحتى نشتغل عليه. So let's start with the demand. So for the demand, you will be using the price here and the quantity demanded. So the first two rows of this table. So here we have the following. We just have to find the different combination and put this combination on the graph. So first of all, for example, if the price is $8, the quantity demanded is 2. So quantity demanded here is 2 for $8. We will be here somewhere at this level. Okay, so here we have our first point. Great. And then for price level 7, we have a quantity demanded of 3. So 3 تقريبا is here. Let's say we will be at this level. Okay, and so on. For price level 6 we are at 4, approximately here, and for price level 5 we are at 5, and etc. 4 at 6, 3 at 7, 4 at 6, 3 at 7, 2 at 8, and 1 at 9. يعني تقريبا هيك. It seems like that we have a straight line here that will represent the quantity demanded. Okay, so here we have our quantity demanded. We will write it as D, or quantity demanded. Always the demand is downward sloping, يعني إذا لقيتوها has a negative slope يعني مظبوطة. إذا لا, you may have an error in your graph. Now we can move to the supply curve, and the supply curve is the following. For a price equal 8, we have the maximum demand of 10, so we will be here somewhere. And then at a price 7, we'll be at 9, somewhere here, and then 7, etc. And you will see that we will be at 5 on for price, sorry, not this one, at 6 here. For price level 4, we will be at 6. So at this level here, the price 4, we will be at 6 somewhere here. So normally we have these points here, and then we continue downward لحديت 3 على 5 here somewhere. What else? 2 على 4 and 1 على 3 somewhere here. So we have our supply curve like this. So here is our supply is an upward sloping curve. Great. So we have these two. We have plotted the supply and demand curve, which is good. We now have to answer the question: what is the equilibrium price? So here, the question A, we can find the answer from the graph or from the table. Or you can, by watching the table, you can say, by examining the table, you can find out the price that will have the same quantity demanded and supply. Okay, quantity supplied. I'm having some problems here with EndNote, ما بعرف ليش. So I'll try to do it again. No. I want to make a bit of space, بس هون هيدي ما بدها تزيح أبدا. I don't know why, so I'll try to switch to another page and go back here. And it works. Great. So, بالquestion A here, what is the equilibrium? We can see that equilibrium level is the following. So here A, equilibrium. And in order to find the equilibrium, you should specify the price at equilibrium and the quantity at equilibrium. So here you can see it here from the intersection between supply and demand. It will be at 4, and for a certain quantity equals 6 normally. Okay, so here at 6, and for quantity 6 and price equal 4. So it could be our first answer that the price will be here at 4 and the quantity 6, where we have quantity supplied equal to quantity demanded, or we are at the intersection between demand and supply. Great. So هيدي أول نقطة, and you can see it also here at this level هون. You can see that at price equal 4 you have the quantity supplied equal to the quantity demanded. So again, we can find out the equilibrium from this table here, because at price equal 4, we have the quantity demanded equal the quantity supplied equals 6. Great. So we have found the equilibrium here for the first question. The second question, question B, is the following. If a minimum price or price floor of $6 is set, so when we have a minimum price or price floor, let's say minimum price equals $6. Great. At this price level, what kind of this equilibrium situation result and how large is it? So for this price level, what you should do if P equals 6, first of all, try to find out what is the quantity demanded and what is the quantity supplied at this price level. So then you can find out the type of this equilibrium that we could have, and we can also show it on the graph. So here the quantity demanded at price equals 6 is, here is the price 6 is 4, and the quantity supplied is 8. So we have here 8 for demand and 8 for supply. So we are in this equilibrium situation. لأنه نحن أصلا منع على price equal 4. So here we're not we are in a equilibrium situation, and we have QS larger than QD. So نحن عندنا excess supply. اوكي، excess supply هون عندنا surplus اذا بدكم بالانتاج. So إذا كان عندنا minimum price هون level set at 6, what kind of this equilibrium situation هو عندنا excess supply, and how large it is. How large هون question 2, how large. We will do the following: QS minus QD to find out the difference between the two. 8 minus 4 equals 4, and since it is in quantity, so normally 4 units. Great, we have answered question B, but we can also show it on the graph. So here B on the graph, we will be using another color, for example green one, for a price equals 6. This one here, P equals 6, minimum price. We will see that first of all we will cross the demand at 4, and then normally supply at 8, and here we have our excess supply. Great. We have another question تقريبا is the same, but now we have a maximum price ceiling of $3 is set at $30. كمان what is the disequilibrium result and how large is it? So here for question C, we will have the same. If price equal 3, what will be the quantity demanded and what will be the quantity supplied? And then we can find out the disequilibrium type. So here, if price equals 3, the quantity demanded will be 7 and the quantity supplied will be 5. So this time we have excess demand. QD is greater than QS, and we have excess demand. And usually excess demand leads to a shortage يعني نقص بالبضاعة المطلوبة. And again, by how much أو قديش هذا size of this excess. So we can do now QD minus QS on at this level 7 minus 5 equals 2 units. Okay, great. كمان again we can show it on the graph. We'll use another color, for example pink. Here at P equals 3, we will have first of all supply and then the demand, and here we'll have the excess demand. Great. So that's it for the first question. You can جاوبنا على كل الأسئلة. Yes, great. So now I will show you how we could, using Excel, plot these two graphs. So on using Excel, I will be doing the following. I will open an Excel file. You can do the same in order to practice at home. You can open an Excel file and plot this graph using Excel. So what we need to do is to write all these three rows in Excel: price, quantity demanded, and quantity supplied. So you can write it as rows or columns, it doesn't matter. So here I'll put the price and QD for quantity demanded and QS for quantity supplied. And I have the following: the price level, it starts from 8 till 1, so I'll put 8, 7, 6, 5, etc. till 1, or I can select these two cells together and then come here to this angle. You will see that the mouse will change from white to black, and then you can drag it. You will see that it will be copying using the same step: 8, 7, so continue 6, 5, 2, etc. 1 till 1. So I've got my numbers 8 to 1. Now I will have the following: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or you can copy the numbers انتم مثل ما بترتاحوا. and I'm doing it like this just to لأنه it will be faster. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We start at 10 and 9, etc. We go to 3. So we have here our three variables: price, quantity demanded, and quantity supplied. And usually we can do the following: we select price and quantity here. Let's say price and quantity demanded. Now you can select all of these three and then go to insert. Here you choose scatter plot and use this one with points, and you will find out that by clicking here, Excel has already plotted the graph. So here we have a graph where we see I will move it just right here. We have the quantity supplied in orange, the quantity demanded in blue, and we see the equilibrium here at the level 6.4. So I will copy this figure here or this graph and we'll go back to OneNote, and instead of this one يلي أنا عملته هون هيك شوي بإيدي, I will paste the good one here. and انتو يمكن إذا عاملينه كمان and you have a ruler and you can يعني ترسموه بطريقة accurate أكتر, you will find تقريبا the graph مثل هيدا. okay, great. So هعمل بعد شوية space هون up and increase the size of this graph. So هون we have the same graph, and I will be focusing on I will be commenting this graph again. You can see here that we have the equilibrium, for example at this level اللي هي intersection here between two, نسميها ال E, point E for equilibrium. And at this level you will see that لحظة شوي لأنه I think that we have to هون we have the prices from 0 ل 9. خلينا نتأكد 0 ل 8. yes. So هون بس this acts البرايس حاطينه تحت بدل ما يكون فوق. So we will be just deleting this graph and go back على Excel. I will select the data again. Great. So once the data are removed, we can add the first series, and the first series is quantity demanded. So we will click here on QD, or we write demand, we can, and the series X values يعني تحت the quantities هي هيدي 2 till 9, and the series Y values هن the prices, this part. Great. Okay, and then we will add QS اللي هي second one, and the series X values اللي هن quantities like QS هن whole, and the Y values هن the price again. Great. So now we have our graph. This one is good. So I'll be copying this graph and pasting it instead of the previous one. I will delete this one with all these here and paste this graph here. And I will increase its size like this. Again. Great. So here we have the following. We have this graph. We can see that the equilibrium is now at this level. At price equal 4 هون we have the price equilibrium. لأنه هون at this level we have the intersection and we have the quantity here equal 6. هذا is our equilibrium. So if we go back to the result here, you can see that price at equilibrium is equal 4 and quantity at equilibrium is equal to 6. So we are at the equilibrium level here. We have our supply in orange and demand in blue. And later in the question B, if the price equals 6, at this level, at the price equals 6, here we can see the difference between supply and demand. So at this price level, we will have our demand here at 4 and our supply here at 8. Okay, so we have excess supply لأنه the quantity demanded at price equals 6. We have the following: quantity demanded equals 4 and quantity supplied equals 8. So كان عندنا هون excess supply, and this excess supply could be shown here. Excess supply. Great. And finally we have found the same for the excess demand on in pink at p equals 3. So at p equals 3 عندنا the quantity demanded قلنا, you can see here at p equals 3 the quantity demanded is 5, quantity supplied is 5, while the quantity demanded here is 7. So we have again هذا الاكسس وهذا الاكسس هون هو الاكسس demand. So at this level we have the excess demand, or we can see it here at this level, excess demand. Okay, so here we have another example أو visualization للسبلاي والديماند أضبط شوي من اللي احنا عملناها هيك على الشكل سريع من دون ما يكونوا الأرقام مظبوطين. So Excel helped us، أو إذا أنتم عندكم مسطرة وبتعملوها على سنتيمتر تقريبا بتطلع أضبط. Great. So this was our first question. Our first exercise. Second exercise here is this one where we discussed تقريبا the كمان the demand and supply. بس هون بهذا الكيس instead of having a table where we have the demand and supply, we have equation or an equation for the demand and equation for supply. And usually equation بتكون هيك: quantity demanded equals function للprice and quantity supplied function للprice. And you can see that quantity demanded الprice هون قبله بيكون negative value لأنه we have a negative slope, while for the quantity supplied بتكون مضروبة ب positive value لأنه it has a positive slope. So here we started a bit last time هذا الexercise لحتى just to push you. قلت لكم أنا in order to find the equilibrium, you know that the equilibrium هو when supply equals demand or quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. So all what you have to do is to find out here إذا هاي الإيكويشن قد هيدي بدها بيطلعوا unknown كأنه system of two equations with two unknown. أو الطريقة الأهين since QD equal QS يعني the first one equals to second one, we replace QD by 100 minus P equals QS 20 plus 1.5 P and we find P. So هذا أنا اللي يمكن الهنت اللي أعطيتكم إياها last time. So based on this equation here, we can say that 100 minus 20 we will have 80 equals P هناخدها تاني ميلة 2.5 P. In this case, P will be equal to 80 over 2.5. So تقريبا ما بعرف إذا 40 or 40 شي. So let's do it here. Calculator. 80 over 2.5. Sorry, 32. Great. So the price at equilibrium here, we can say that the price at equilibrium is 32. We can now find the quantity at equilibrium, QE dash. How? Using one of all the equations دي يا بنحطها بهاي يا بنحطها بتاني وحدة. We can find Q. يعني we can say that in this case QD will be 100 minus P يعني 100 minus 32 يعني 68, or QS should be the same 20 plus 1.5 times 32. So 32 نصها 48 plus 20 بتصير 68. Okay, so you see that here at this level for this price QS and QD are equal وهيدي هي the quantity at equilibrium 68. So we have found our price at equilibrium and our quantity at equilibrium. Okay, great. هيدا كانت find the market equilibrium and then draw the supply and demand curves. Demand and supply curves هون I've already explained إنه since the demand is equal QD هي equals 100 minus P. So we can say for P equals 0, QD will be at 100 here at this level, and then if QD equals 0, the price will be 100 يعني هيدي البوينت. And we have 2 points بنعرف إنه هي straight line so رسمناها هيك. And then same for QS. If P equals 0, we'll start at 20 here for the quantity, and then if P مثلا equals 60, وين عملنا P60 here, the quantity supplied إذا بتحطوا 60 هون times 1.5 بتصير 90 plus 20 بتصير 110, so we'll end up at this point. Great. So we have here our supply and demand curves, and normally according للإكوليبريم اللي لقيناهم فوق, we know now that the price at equilibrium is 32. So here we have 32. And the quantity at equilibrium is 68. Great. So هيدا كانت question 2. Draw the supply and demand graph. هلا the price is set at $60. What is the market situation? Great. هيدا is a new question. So هون كمان again هناخد space and use the space to answer the question. So here we have the following. هيدا شو كانت question 2 or 3. Question 3 is price now is at 60. So question 3, P is equal to 60. What will happen? What is the situation? First of all, you can use this price in both demand and supply and see what will be the quantity demanded and what will be the quantity supplied. We already know that the demand QD is equal to 100 minus P. So for P equals 60, quantity demanded will be equals 100 minus 60. هيضل لنا ال quantity demanded equal 40. And for quantity supplied كان عندنا 20 plus 1.5 P. يعني quantity supplied will be equal to 20 plus 1.5 price 60. So هون 60 ونصهم 90 110. So you can see here that again we have this equilibrium and QS greater than QD لأنه QS is 40 is 110 ما بعرف شو عم يصير 0 110 is greater than 40. So في عنا excess supply, and this excess هو تقريبا the difference between 110 minus 40 يعني تقريبا 70 units. Okay, great. So here's the answer for question 3. If the price equal 60, what is the situation on market? And then in question 4, we have the following. An increase in preferences related to this product leads to a new demand function. So now we have a new demand function, which is QD equal 100 minus P. And here you can see that the change is other than the price or the quantity. So it's another factor. And usually when another factor changes, it will shift the demand curve. Okay, so هون you have to expect a shift in the demand curve. هي أهم شغلة. First of all, you have a shift in the demand curve. And then شغلة تانية, you can plot this new demand and see what kind of change the demand has occurred. So on new demand, with question 4, we have a new demand, and this new demand حنسميها QD2. هي هلا 120 minus P. So هون again بتجوا على الجراف and you can do the following. إذا أخذنا the same graph here وحطينا تحت, I want just to select هذه البارت and ناخد الجراف ونحطه هون تحت مكان here. Okay, so we have the graph again here and you can say the following إنه هلا now instead of when P equals 0 هون, if P equals 0, quantity demanded بدها بتكون 120. Okay, equal 120. So here for price equals 0 at this level, instead of starting at 100 حنكون here at 120. And again بالنسبة لتاني ميلة, يعني if Q equals 0 and if QD equals 0 كمان البرايس حيكون 120. Okay, إذا بتحطوا هون QD equals 0 بتطلع 120. So again here البرايس حيبلش هون على 120 تقريبا. So what we are going to have is a new demand which is parallel على the previous one that starts at 120 instead of 100. هجرب هون أعملها هيك and تكون parallel على اللي قبلها. تقريبا 120 here. I'm not 100% accurate, بس إنه we will have this demand to the new demand. So هون أنا حاجي أقول إنه هيدي I want to erase only the D here. Yes. So here I have the first demand and here I have demand 2, the second demand. And I can see here that I have a shift in the demand. So حنعملها بلون تاني شوي أخف. هذا أكتر. Getting this one. Here we have a shift in the demand to the right. So the demand here, demand has shifted to the right. Okay, so that's it. هذا الchange اللي صار. Demand has shifted here to the right. What kind of change demand has occurred? What is the effect of the demand? هلا a new question. What is the effect of the demand change on the price and quantity exchanged? يعني على price و quantity exchange شو بيصير الإفكت؟ Here we can find out the new equilibrium and we'll see the effect here. So هيك شو صار. The new equilibrium is now here at a higher level. لاحظين؟ So the price at equilibrium الجديد صار أعلى, so the prices has increased, بس كمان the quantity QE2 has increased. Okay, so first of all, to answer this question يلي هي شو كانت D, we can say إنه when the demand shifts to the right, the price is expected to increase and the quantity also to increase. بس نحن will provide a full answer to this question. So we'll be doing the following. So هون حنقول إنه بدي لأنه أول شيء demand shifted to the right. So the effect هيكون according to what we have seen concerning the price. We have an increase in the price and also على the quantity increase in quantity exchanged. Both price and quantity has increased. شو كان السؤال هو E, question E. So here we have the question E. And also we can find the accurate values of P at equilibrium and QE at equilibrium. How we could do this? Use a new demand with the supply لأن supply initial supply ما تغيرت. So here the equilibrium D2 equals S صار عنا. So هون صار عنا 120 minus P instead of 100 equals 20 plus 1.5 P. So again here we have an equation. There's one unknown which is P. We can find P على equilibrium. Let's move 20 to this side, to the right, to the left side بيضل 100 and P to the left, to the right side, sorry, بيضل 2.5 P. So P at equilibrium is equal to 100 over 2.5 and simple calculation will lead to 100 over 2.5 2.5 I'll get 40. Great. So my new price at equilibrium is 40. They can 32. So I've got this increase from 32 to 40. هذا price has increased, and the new quantity at equilibrium and quantity at equilibrium will be equal to use for example demand 120 minus 40 equals 80. So we can see here that due to the shift we have the following. Again I will move this exercise. So هنحط هون before and after the demand shift, and we will put the price at equilibrium and the quantity at equilibrium. And here we have the following. Price before was 32, so 40, and it has increased. Well, quantity, it's 82 بس قديش كانت قبل. Let's go back to the 168. كانت 68 and صارت 80. So from 68 لل 80. So كمان the quantity طلعت. Okay, so both price at equilibrium and quantity at equilibrium have increased. Great. So that's it. بتصور يمكن هون the questions. We still have a question F. What is the effect of a new technology that will boost the production process? So هون F it will be the same. ما حاعملها كلها بس إنه a new technology that will boost the supply. يعني supply will increase for all price levels. يعني supply curve will shift, supply shifts to the right. Okay, and if the supply shift to the right هون ما عطيونا بقديش بس we can do it هيك. For example, if we have the demand here and we have the initial supply S1, by shifting the supply to the right for S2, you will also see that sorry the demand قلبت لكم اياه هون. So خلينا ندغري على السريع لأنه conclusion منا منطقية. Here we have the demand مش supply, and we have the supply here, and if the supply shifts to the right from S1 to S2, we will be having the following: a decrease in the price at equilibrium. So when we have the price and quantity, so on the result is price at equilibrium will decrease and quantity exchange will increase لأنه هون the quantity has increased while the price has decreased from 1 to 2. Okay, so that's it for this question. هذا exercise 3. You can now do the same for the exercise 4. تقريبا هو نفس الشيء. تقريبا same questions. So we will be doing it شوي بسرعة. We have now a quantity demanded, هيدي quantity supplied, this one. We have to find the equilibrium, so same. نحطهم على بعضهم. Draw the supply and demand curve. إذا البرايس إذا كان at 200 or 100 شو هيصير؟ What is the effect of an increase in production cost related to this product? إذا زاد production cost هون you should know على مين الإفكت؟ الإفكت على production يعني مينة البروديوسر، يعني إفكت على supply. So supply will be lower, so in this case the supply curve will shift to the left. A new supply function is given by أعطونا إياها. So what is the effect؟ شو بنعمل؟ بنحطها بدل ال QS اللي فوق. We find the new equilibrium. We show that the price has increased لأنه supply نزل and the quantity demanded well, quantity exchange will decrease لأنه أصلا نزل supply. What is the effect of an increase in the population on this market? Increase in population. Population is a factor. كمان نرجع للfactor that affect the demand. Population is a factor that affects the demand. كل ما يكون في population أكبر, so the demand will be higher. So an increase in the population will increase the demand. So demand will shift to the right. And if the demand shifts to the right, كمان بترسموها, you will find that the price will increase and the quantity at the same time will increase. Okay, so that's it. هنعملها كمان ولو انه يمكن تقريبا نفس الشيء بس هنعملها شوي بسرعة. First of all, find the equilibrium. هيدي first question. The equilibrium. So here we have demand equals supply, and we will copy the demand and supply. يعني هون 500 minus 2p equals 100 plus p. So again إذا بناخد ال 100 التاني مايلي بيصيروا 400 equals 3p إذا ماني غلطان. So the price at equilibrium is 400 over 3 يعني تقريبا شي 133.3. اوكي خلينا بس نتأكد. 400 over 3, yes, 133. So now we can find the quantity at equilibrium in one of these two. Let's choose the second one, يعني اللي هي supply 100 plus P, يعني 100 plus 133.3 233.3. So هلا we have our quantity exchanged, our price at equilibrium and the quantity exchanged at equilibrium. واحدة 133 and the second one is 233. And next is draw the supply and demand graphs. So هول أنا حأعملهم بشكل كتير سريع. You can do it properly انتو عندكم. We have the following. As usual, we have to draw our graph like this. So we have both demand and supply. هنغير the color to black. Great. So here we have demand and supply and the price and quantity demanded. بشكل كتير سريع demand هي starts at 500 when P equals 0 بتنزل, and when demand equals 0 بتنزل ل 250. يعني تقريبا قلنا نحن when P equals 0 بتكون quantity demanded 500. So here let's say up 500, when quantity demanded equals 0 بتروح على 250. So هيدي is our demand تقريبا يعني بشكل سريع. مش كتير عم نعملها بشكل هنعملها in red using ما أخدتها so هيدي is our demand. Great. and demand هون بدنا نعملها in red for example. Great. And we have the supply هي 100 plus P يعني for Q equal 0 أو for price equal quantity for price equal 0 quantity بتطلع 100. so حتبلش هون على ال 100 وبتطلع for example على ال quantity 500 إذا بتحطوا quantity here 500 بيطلع ال price 400. so here at 500 we will be around 400 somewhere here. Okay, so again we can select or plot the second graph or curve that will show us the relationship between supply and demand. I want to change the color of this one to blue. Okay, great. So I have the supply, I have the demand, and normally as we have seen together that the equilibrium أنا كأني حطيتها blue بس ما عملت blue. I just need to put this one in blue, please. Great. So now we can say that here we have our equilibrium at price 133 مبدئيا and quantity 233. Okay. كمان منا كتير accurate بس إنه at least عنا certain إذا بدكم representation of this graph. The price is set at 200. What is the market situation? So please hon for this question here let's go back here. For this question you have to put P equal 200 وتشوف قد بتطلع demand وقد بتطلع supply. So you will find the demand إذا هون نحطه 200 بيضل demand 100 and for the supply بتصير 300. So عنا excess supply of 200. Same هون again بس if the price equal 100. So if the price equal 100 بتعملوا details مثل ما حطينا فوق وبتكتبوا شو ال excess etc. So for price equal 100 the quantity demanded will be 300 and the supply quantity supplied is 200. So here we have an excess demand لأنه demand أعلى من supply of تقريبا قد 100. Great. So whole 3 and 4. 5. What is the effect of an increase in production cost related to this production? هيدا 5. So regarding the question 5 هون فينا نقول we'll put it here. Question 5. Increase in costs هتعمل affect the producer so affects the supply curve will shift to the left. Okay, هتنزل to the left رح تصغر supply curve. What is the effect of an increase? شو بتأثر؟ هلا لأنه ما عنا النمبرز سو حنعملها تقريبا بهالطريقة. Let's copy this one هذا الجراف Ctrl C and paste it here and we will try to shift the supply اللي هي هيدي in blue to the left ونشوف شو بيصير. So let's take this one and put it just right here for example. So here we have the new supply 2. Okay, so هيدي S1 هي S2. and here we have E2, the new equilibrium. You can see that in this case the price at equilibrium has increased and the quantity as equilibrium at equilibrium has decreased لأنه quantity نزلت. So هول ال two main effects اللي بدكم تشرحهم. Great, هيدي question 5 and then question 6. A new supply function is given by هالقد ايه. What is the effect on the supply change on the price etc. So please خدوا هالQS حطوها محل هالQS وشوفوا شو بيصير. يعني ما حارجع اعملها لأنه it's close to what we have already done. So for question 6 here, use هيدي supply, use a new supply with the initial demand with the demand اللي هي QD 500 minus 2P وهي ال QS الجديدة قدامنا 150 plus P and using both these two اثنين فتشوا على ال quantity at equilibrium and price at equilibrium. Okay, so calculation سريعة مفروض تلاقوها. And then you say إذا شو صار price زاد price نقص etc. quantity increased or decreased. And finally, what is the effect of an increase in the population on this market? شو بيصير increase على population on this market? Let's do it here. Find question which is 6 or 7 ما أتذكر يمكن مسميينها F. An increase in population معناتها will increase the demand معناتها the demand shifts to the right. already نحن شفنا فوق شو بيصير when the demand shift to the right. هيصير عنا price at equilibrium will increase and quantity at equilibrium will also increase. هذا الكيس شفناه فوق. So go back to this case here. مش هون ما شفناه إذا ما أنا غلطان. No ما شفناه. طيب يمكن كان عندنا change بالسبلاي مش بالديماند. So هعملكم إياها هون بطريقة سريعة. ليكوا شو بيصير when the demand shifts to the right. Here we have demand 1. Sorry, when we have supply. We have the first demand here, D1, and we have D2 here. And you see that demand has shifted to the right. So what happens to prices and quantities? We go from this point to this point, from E1 then E2, and you can see that the price has increased and the quantity has also increased. So only P has increased and quantity also has increased. Okay, so that's it for these exercises. And you should have done these exercises. You may have found some difficulties in the last two questions of exercises 3 and 4 بس الباقيين المفروض تكونوا عرفتوا تعملوا. So what I'm going to do now is to export again this file يعني update it مع solution تحت and send you the solution home. So home you will see that supply and demand updated, and this file home I will put it on Google Classroom with the link to this video لحتى يصير عندكم اياهم اثنيناتهم. So حتى تقدروا at the same time تدرسوا وتشتغلوا. I will not send this Excel file. You can do it again عندكم بالبيت لأنه شفتوا الستبس. You can pause the video and do the steps one by one حتى ترجعوا تعملوا هذا Excel file تشوف كيف تعملوا demand. You can also do it for another exercise. So here in this you have the chapter here with all the information regarding كل النوتس اللي حاطينها على كل هذا الشابتر as you can see, and whole exercises اللي عملناها اليوم تقريبا كلها موجودة. Thank you for listening and see you in the next session. Bye bye.